Somebody asked me once, why do you do this? And it was quite arrogant, this particular person. So I asked him, does he do the lottery? And he said, yes, I suppose you want me to give you the pound. I said, no. I said, what's the motto for the lottery? And he said, it could be you. I said, exactly, it could be you.
Part of our Christian values, it's to help people who are in need. And we see this as an excellent opportunity to do that, and we're very proud and humbled to do that as well.
As a society, I feel like we're supposed to take care of people who maybe don't have the advantages that some of us do. They fall through the net, and government, the local government, should be taking care of them if they need. And that's what food banks are there to do now.
People sometimes have to juggle because they either have to pay the rent or eat. They sometimes can't do both, and it shouldn't be happening in this society in Britain today. We've got the money around. It shouldn't be happening, but it is.
A very large percentage of the people who come in the door here are disadvantaged people. Many of them have got very poor health. Increasingly, many of the people who come in the door have got mental health problems. Very significantly, many of them have debt problems. A lot of them are bewildered as to what's happening to their benefits and the changes to their benefits and all that sort of stuff.
Well, it's the way the benefits are going. I think a lot of it's the bedroom tax. There's a lot said over the bedroom tax. They can't afford, because they're paying extra now for the bedrooms, they can't afford the food.
So the last few weeks has been quite emotional for me because young guys are really, really struggling. And so consequently they're trying to live on, if they're under 25, 50 odd quid a week. Their rent is paid, council tax paid all of a sudden. They're in a 2-bedroom property, they've got to pay the extra. They've got to pay the 40%, they've got to pay 20%. So where they're just about managing on 50 quid a week, then all of a sudden they're in a hole.
We need help from the government, we need help from the council, we need finance support, and our community, we need help from people in the community. The community's been really good. The blessings that they give and the amount of food, it's absolutely tremendous.
You can get anything from somebody who's really terrified that they owe the paper shop down the road £10 to somebody who owns lots of people up to huge amounts of money, £20,000, £30,000. Somebody who's been to the job centre several times and still hasn't been able to get their benefit. Somebody who's unfortunately lost a member of their family and they don't know how to deal with that in terms of sorting out wills or anything like that. So it really can be quite vast.
There's this gap all the time waiting for the process, for benefits, and they just haven't got a bean, or they're not putting heating on, lighting on, they're missing out on something to try and put some food on the table. So yeah, I think we're doing a valuable job.
There's people who come in who have never been out of work in their life, and they're very embarrassed walking in, and they said they'd never thought they'd see the day they'd have to do this, and that's a lot of them are feeling that way. Yeah.
Another very significant group of people that I see more and more are people who are in work, but the work that they're in is absolutely abominable, that they have awful conditions of employment. They are given minimal contracts, they are not given proper sick leave, they're not given proper maternity leave, and they are prisoners of this setup. And to the extent that they could do something about it, they can only do something about it on the basis of proper knowledge and advice. Without proper knowledge and advice, they're just being abused.
Mostly at the moment it all seems to be connected with delayed benefits because the systems have changed. Disabled people have had their benefits stopped because they have to be reassessed, and they can go up to 2 months before this is resolved. They haven't got a penny. Once they've got rent to pay, bills to pay like the rest of us, they haven't got a penny.
It goes from one extreme to another. They can be people. We had one chap who ran a business for 18 years and the business had gone under, and every penny he'd had gone into that, so he'd lost everything. He didn't know the benefit system, the benefit scheme, so he needed to help that way. And we've had young heavily pregnant mums with lots of children who've walked miles to get here, you know, to get food. It's a big range of people, large range of people, and you can't pass a judgment on any of them because they might turn up in a big car, but they've had that car before they fell on hard times. You know, you can't sit in judgments of people you don't know. It could be you tomorrow, it could be me tomorrow. You know.
It's just great, and they're so thankful, and they really appreciate it, and just to see them come in and, you know, feel relieved that they've got some food for the few days is really nice to see.
It could be an old person who hasn't had heating allowance. It could be an old person who just about manages and now has got to pay council tax. It could be a young man who's been thrown out of his family home and has got himself sorted out, just about managing on his £50-odd a week.
I used to deal with 3 clients on each occasion that I came into work, and I don't do that anymore. I only deal with 2, because the level of problems that they're bringing in means I have to devote more time to each person, and I need to devote more time to following up on each person's problems.
Food bank, since we've been doing food bank, there's a lot more goes on here in the room. There's hours spent in the back where people prepare the food, bag it all up, and then at the front where we get people coming in, you know, to sit down. It takes them a lot of guts to come in and actually sit and talk about the need.
It just feels like, you know, you can offer more. We're offering them food, obviously, that's the main thing they're coming in for, but it's also on a personal side, you know, sometimes you can have a good chat with the person, you know, who's got problems and that, and you can share them with you. You know, they don't go out this room, but, you know, you can share them, you know, give them any advice and help that, you know, we can give them.
I like to greet the people at the door and make them feel as though they're not sort of coming in for charity. I like to keep thinking they're keeping the dignity, because it's a big step, stepping over that threshold and coming in.
We've just finished school holidays, and there were people I was speaking to who were looking forward to their children going back to school because they knew that they would get free school meals. Because during the school holidays, this particular person could hardly afford to feed her children. She was on her own with 3 children and could hardly afford to feed them.
It's very rewarding to be able to help people. In the end, you know, we talk about the numbers of people that come in, but it's the people that matter. And when the people come in and they have a need and you're able to help them with it, that's where the reward comes. I mean, we see people leave here crying because, you know, they receive kindness, I think, in the end is what it is. You know, we touch their hearts, and just seeing them come in, it touches our hearts too. So it's a very rewarding thing.
You know that if somebody's coming out to help here, you're going to know that there's at least one couple or one person or one family that's not going to struggle that day, and you're making a difference to that one. If it was only one came that day.
When they get up out of the chair and they acknowledge that at last someone has actually listened to them, that gives me a lot of satisfaction. And it happens to young people, old people, male and female, just actually to have the opportunity of talking to somebody else and getting the impression that at last somebody has actually listened to them. I know that they benefit, and that gives me satisfaction.
I volunteer here because I wanted to feel that I had purpose in life. I felt not at college, I wasn't well, had nothing to do, lost all my friends, had no confidence, so thought I'd come here, give it a go. Thought it'd be rubbish, but it's not, it's good and I love it.
I gained more from it than I thought I would. It's the fellowship of people around me, you know, people that I work with. It's getting to know other people. We're not all church people. There's people come from all walks of life. It's not just the churchy ones that come and do this. It's everyone, and it's getting to know all that. It's getting to speak to people and mix with people. I love the little mums. I love the little mums that come in and things like that. I've got a lot out of it, really. I'm going to cry now.